I've watched it. I finally watched it. And you know what? Let's talk about it. We're into Kyle's reviews with today's topic, Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken. Now, for those people that don't really know and actually are just or like confused and curious at the same time as well, this film came out of, and that's what all of us thought of when we first saw the trailer. Since the film itself did came out 3 months before its initial release, which is a quite a shy sign to be fair to you. Which also explains why the film itself it also became DreamWorks' worst opening to a theatrical film since Sinbad and Spirit Untamed. And sure, I did heard that back then they were working on this concept called Meet the Gilmans, which is like how Krakens would live in the human world, and it was a neat idea, but the idea of itself got us to you know who. So of course changes had to be made, and here we are now with the Ruby Gillman film that we've been all looking for. So, were the changes in this film a lot better than its performance at the box office? The plot is centered around Ruby Gillman, which her and her family are disguised as humans in order to blend in with the human world, while Ruby herself is trying to plan herself for prom in order for her friends and her crush Connor. But then in one incident happened, she realized that that she's also a Kraken with also a powers that also makes her a giant one too, as she realizes her grandmother is also the queen of the Krakens, which is trying to protect themselves from the evil mermaids who want to grab the trident for their own reasons. So it's up to Ruby to stop the mermaids. Technically, it won't go in that direction since it basically starts off with Chelsea coming in the screen as she starts becoming the popular girl despite being a mermaid. So they want to team up in order to get the trident, so that way the Krakens and mermaids can actually, coexist together as the plot says it to us. And in terms of story, this one is a bit predictable, which makes it kind of feel like it was made in the 2010 decades with the usual cliches of startup breakups, of some dance scenes, and more happens. And it kind of has a bit of a rough pace in at times, where it wants to get too sensitive in moments, and also kind of like more intense scenes, which has a bit of a clunky balance between the two. And then there's also the humor. And to be fair, some did give me a few bits of chuckles, while others cannot really give me as much humor as The Last Wish did to me. But if there's one thing that does help the film is with the heart, and even if it's not the greatest, it's still solid enough to know how Ruby would go in her ways in order to actually improve her goals and do what's right for her family, mostly with Agatha. And I'll even say that the action scenes do get intense as it goes on, mostly through like the climax, where sure it's you can obviously predict what's going to happen, but you are still curious and actually want to root for Ruby to achieve her goal. As for the characters, they're an entirely mixed bag. Like, well, you got some that are actually passable, and a few others that might get on your nerves when you first see them. Starting off with Ruby Gillman, she's the main character of the film that wants to live as a normal life and blend in with the crowd, while despite being a Kraken, also learns of her new powers and trying to protect the Krakens as well. Yes, she is the stereotypical teen that wants to know who she truly is. But I'll give her that she is probably one of the more tolerable characters of the film, and could be one of the better ones as well. Well, she does have the heart for her family and wants to do what's right for them, even if they're not at the best times. Even if of course, most teen tropes where they want to escape them so they can live their life. But of course, as film goes on, they do care for each other and do try to do what's right. And who knows, maybe when more people watch the film, they might get into the Ruby Gillman character herself. I mean, I'll admit she has a nice, fun, quirky personality of hers, which give us some nice, funny, and heartfelt scenes. And despite being a Kraken, I honestly kind of to be kind of cute. And I gotta stop sidetracking here and get on with the review itself. And speaking of the other character with that other trait, Agatha is also the mother of the family that also are trying to prevent Ruby from or any of the Kraken members from going from the ocean. But they live near them, so I'm starting to question her logic there. But anywho, back onto herself, she's just doing what's best for family and rather to be living on life than in the ocean. And of course, as the character in the ocean, Grandmama is the also queen of the entire Krakens, who also rather lives on the ocean and of course rather not be on land, which has a hard time trying to die her like daughtership with Agatha herself. As for others, they don't really do much throughout the film, like how Arthur and Sam are like the comic reliefs, along with Brill, and even Golden Lighthouse is basically either the only human that's trying to look out for the Krakens themselves, which can give him a bit of an annoying spot. Arthur and Sam don't offer much throughout the film, but I guess Brill does add a bit to the film as well, so at least it's saying something. As for the other humans, we see Ruby Gillman's friends that don't really offer much throughout the film, which sucks because, well, I am quite curious to know more about them. But there's also Connor, that is Ruby Gillman's crush, that my fan theory is starting to wonder is this guy a Kraken too, disguised as a human, but with a different race skin on him? I'm not trying to be racist, but I'm actually quite curious. And of course, we got the fan favorite in both the movie and the internet, Chelsea. Van Dersey. I think that's how you pronounce it, but I'm not going to say her full name, so I'm just going to call her Chelsea. And of course, she's probably the only character that the entire way to actually say that she's probably the most passable human looking like in the entire crowd. So she's the popular girl that has a keen interest in Ruby, while she also reveals herself as a mermaid and wants to be friends with her in order for like the Krakens and mermaids to actually coexist. And as the film goes on, I wouldn't say much about her since it's spoilers, but to be fair, the trailer spoiled the crap out of the film, so I think it's no secret in what Chelsea is actually trying to plan up to. So yeah, her twist is kind of like ruined from the trailers alone. And she may seem like a typical twist film as well, but I'll give Annie Murphy did give a solid performance as the mermaid girl herself. Heck, I would say the actors did solid enough in their performances. Some of the standouts besides Annie are Lana Condor as Ruby Gillman and Jane Fonda as Grandmama, as she does best. So, at least that's saying something for characters that aren't the best, but still passable enough. And as for the animation, they went for more of a rubber hose type of animation style that's similar to like some of the old Sony films like Cry with a Chance of Meatballs and Hotel Transylvania. And to be fair, the rubber hose style does fit the Krakens quite well, which mostly helps with their character designs that actually give us a nice flashbacks to the old cartoons out there, which looks a lot better than what Strangewood did with their human designs. And the use of squash and stretch does fit well with the character animation on the Krakens as well. But then you have the humans. I'm gonna be honest with you people, I am not a fan of these. These to me is a great example of what does not work when you're trying to blend when like non-humans and humans together in order to make what you see as of right now. Heck, I can even say that the humans in the non-finished scenes that got deleted look a lot better than the humans we got here now. Which really does set up the uncanniness, which was sure, they want the Krakens to look similar to the humans, but does not work. And if there's a bonus I can give to the human designs is that they do a lot better than the shitty ones in fucking Marmaduke. But moving on to like the other parts that actually make the animation outstanding is with the backgrounds, mostly on land and the ocean, of course. And of course, the best part about the film is with the inside when we go inside the ocean itself. Most with the nice use of vibrant colors, and even see more unique designs on the Krakens as well. And how can I not forget about the action scenes, which do set a nice setup of the intensity and the comedic feel to it. Probably the most standard one is, of course, the climax between Ruby and Chelsea, which does actually help to make the film somewhat engaging, which we do want to see Ruby succeed on mission. I mean, sure, the animation isn't really the masterpiece of one, But I will say, it is still a nice touch feel to what DreamWorks is doing nowadays, and I am still quite curious to know what DreamWorks would do more with the styles, which is Spider-Verse or not, which I am still glad they're doing so. Sure, Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken was a bit of a downgrade compared to The Last Wish, but it is still a solid enough underwater adventure compared to Shark Tale. Sure, it may have a messy story and some human designs that are very uncanny to not look at, with the exception of Chelsea, despite being a mermaid. It still does make up for it with some genuine heart put into a film, some stunning animation, some pretty solid enough voice acting, and some characters that may not be great, but are still tolerable to watch on screen. And sure, it isn't hard to watch the film now since, well, it is now put on streaming. And I knew no one was going to take me to see this in theaters because, well, they probably not were heard of it. But good thing I watched this on streaming, as I said, and finally got to experience this until like almost a month now. Jesus. But still, I still get a solid enough watch from this film, and I'm still glad to give this a C of good. Now, if you excuse me, I'm just going to have to deal with the next film that I'll be reviewing, but I'll tell you at the end of now. But for now, I still got a solid enough experience, and hopefully it doesn't go downhill from here. Next time on Kyle's Reviews is...
Whatever, man. Whatever. For more of these sound effects, subscribe, like and comment.